Go. Hello, amazing hackers. Hope you're all doing well today and welcome back to the channel. Today I have the pleasure of talking to kevtech IT support. Hey, Kev, thanks for joining. I really appreciate it.
Hey, how you doing? Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm great. I'm great. How about yourself?
Doing well. Can't complain. Another day, another week.
Well, for today's video, I've done like a crap ton of research into you, but of course, viewers don't know. So could you please explain a little bit about yourself? Who are you?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Kevin Apollinario. You can find me as kevtech IT support. I am a YouTube content creator, so I make videos on IT support, system admin, cybersecurity. I'm also a technical trainer. So I do tech training for military veterans for a company called Boosted Books. I volunteer for them. I also do tech training for Rice Cyber. Actually a nonprofit organization that is tailored to Latinos, Latinas, specifically Hispanics trying to get into IT or Latinas getting into IT. And we're partnered with Blacks in Cybersecurity, Women in Cybersecurity. On top of that, I'm also an instructor for a community college. So I teach for a community college. And on top of that, I work in cybersecurity. And like I said, I have the YouTube channel thing going on. I have my own community on Discord with 11,000 members. And that's a little bit about me in a nutshell. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'll post links to the Discord and all of the other stuff that Kev is doing in the description as well, by the way. So if you're interested in joining, don't hesitate. I've checked it out. I was a little bit of a spy. I'm not going to tell you with what account, but it's awesome. I really like how close-knit you guys are. You really seem to help each other a lot, and that's what I like about you. You help veterans, like you say. You help other people in cybersecurity, Latinos. It's great to have other people helping in this industry. It's just like a lot to go around. Like, how do you get to all of this stuff? Because I can imagine you also only have 24 hours in a day, unless you also found a hack for that. But how do you
Yeah,
get around?
yeah. So I have my calendar and lots of coffee. That's the secret. Calendar and
Lots of
lots of
coffee.
coffee.
Hold on,
So
let me take notes there.
yeah. So I do sleep like 6 hours 6 hours a night, but for the most part, I like have my calendar schedule in a way that it's like, okay, Kev, it's time for you to take a break for a walk for 30 minutes. Don't get out of your ass and get out of your seat and go walk for 30 minutes. So like my calendar is set up in such a way that, and I'm saying not to be lazy. I'm saying that it's in a way that let's say let's take a break because you already did like 2 hours of studying, or let's take a break because you did a class for this person or that person. So that's how it is. I mean, calendar is super duper organized, and I use Calendly for that and a bunch of other stuff. So
Is that because you also get into like a flow state when you're working, where it's like, okay, now I'm in the flow, and then it's really hard to interrupt that? It's like you lose
yeah,
track of time and stuff.
yeah. Like I'll give you a real life example. Like yesterday, I wasn't supposed to work till like 6 p.m. Like I literally was supposed to stop, and I kept going. And even my manager said, "Okay, Kev, you gotta take a break, man. Like you've been on this for almost 6 hours." And I'm like, I gotta get this done. And he's like, no, you gotta take a break. And I'm like, all right, I'll take a break. But he said, you'll come back to it tomorrow. Don't worry about it. So the thing is with me is like I'm one of those guys that I'm not sure if you know InfoSec Pat or Patrick Gorman from
Yeah, sure.
cybersecurity. So that happened to me with Pat. So Pat invited me to his house and he was teaching me how to do pen testing, hacking with Wi-Fi. And then when I was doing it, I literally could not stop. And they had to like give me a break and stop me from doing it because I'm one of those people that like I'm very determined to get it done. And if I don't know how to get it done, I'll try to figure out a way to get the answer. It's just my mind is like programmed to try to get it completed. That's just how I am as a person. So
And is that like useful in your day-to-day life, or you know what, Wi-Fi hacking, or is it more like something you'd like to pick up as a hobby?
it's something that Pat taught me how to do. So I didn't know how to do that before because I'm a more on the blue team side, less on the red team side. So Pat's like, oh, Kev, come here. I'll teach you how to hack this Wi-Fi. And he showed me how to do it. And I brought my laptop and everything. And then, yeah, we had fun. It was really interesting. So,
That's awesome. Like, do
mhm.
you recommend learning Wi-Fi hacking to others, or because you said you're a blue teamer, like, is that useful to know how to attack something if you need to defend it, or is it more like, no, let's learn the defense stuff and let the
No,
attackers
like
attack?
the more I get into cybersecurity and the more I get into blue team, the more I realize I need to be good at both sides. I can't just be good at blue team. So
Yeah,
that's just the reality of cybersecurity and IT. You cannot be good at just one thing. You should be good at multiple avenues of things. And I'm not saying spread yourself thin. What I'm basically saying is try to be a little bit well rounded, if that makes sense.
For sure, yeah, definitely. Like I get that fully from my end. I also like to try to at least know different things, and I've realized that well, my labs get hacked, so I need to defend. I need to blue team as well. When it comes to blue teaming, like I think a lot of people want to get into cybersecurity. Would you recommend them to go into blue teaming or red teaming, or is that more a person dependent thing, you think?
I think it's a personal depending thing. It depends on where you want to do. And a lot of people that do blue team, I'm just being honest with you, you may find it overwhelming because it's like you're looking at logs all day. That's one. And then the other thing is you're looking at Sentinel all day. So you're ingesting lots and lots of information, lots of queries, and also you're connecting a bunch of applications inside Sentinel, and basically ingesting all that information, and then basically throwing it on a backup like Google Workspace or something, some sort of backup solution. And those things are very important when it comes to having Sentinel. And then the other thing is really annoying is a lot of false positives. So when you work with like Defender, for example, you're getting a Defender for XDR specifically, you will encounter a lot of false positives. You're like, I don't even know if this is legit or not. And then that's where you have to actually contact the end user to see if it's real or not. Because sometimes you'll get like they open up a file by accident and then you get an alert about that. And it's probably not even a real alert. It's probably just a false positive. And maybe they get a Gmail email from someone that they don't know. And then you get an alert on Defender saying, oh, they just got an email from this person. And then you confirm and she's like, she or he is like, no, that person's real. Like, I'm not sure we're getting an alert about that, right? So you'll get like really strange alerts that are actually legit, and then some that are actually like I had one guy, he had a Trojan virus on his computer, but lucky for us, Defender took care of it right away, so I didn't have to do anything. It said, okay, no action taken on it. So I went to the Defender, I logged in, I checked, it was good, didn't do anything. So like for blue team, like I said, yeah, it's a lot, it's very involved. So it's not you're not just in the computer all day looking at logs, it's doing a bunch of other stuff. So hopefully
Yeah,
that
that's
answers your question.
for sure. Yeah, like I left a little bit there because our blue teamer, he's also like, do I really have to do this shit? I have to look at logs all fucking day. I was like, poor guy. And the good thing, like the weird thing about blue teaming as well is like if a hacker gets into your system and he's able to erase your logs, like is there still like a possibility to trace them, or is it more like okay, logs are gone, screw it, nothing to do here?
I mean, if you have a backup solution, you should be okay. Like I typically, the thing is with my company, we have backups of backups of backups. So it's like kind of like like if you delete something, I can always get it back from somewhere else because we have too many different backup. Because I use Microsoft Azure, and then I use GCP, and I also use Azure AWS. You could only imagine us because we use 3 different solutions. So it's like okay. You delete
So
it
you,
here, good luck trying to delete everything because we have it all over the place. So
Jesus Christ! So you basically have to know 3 different cloud solutions. That's incredible.
yeah,
Like a lot of people struggle with one only. That's like incredible. Do you use the cloud a lot when you do this kind of blue teaming, or like because I've heard that some people like on-prem, I heard some people like cloud. What do you guys
yeah.
like?
So I'm right now I'm in the middle of a SOC 2 Type 2 audit for our company, and we are implementing JIT, which is just-in-time access for Microsoft Azure, and I'm trying to implement that for Google Workspaces as well. So basically, what that means is you have a service account that you get added to, and you only have access for 4 hours. And then I also implemented MFA on that. So if you elevate your account, you have to use MFA. And then I set up a policy where basically, if you're not doing anything on your computer and you're using like a high level service account, it automatically logs you out after 1 hour. So it's set up that way for security purposes. So that's what I've been working on. And I'm working on other stuff that because we're in the middle of the audit. So I have to have all those information. And it's like little things. It's not really like complicated. It's like, oh, does your company have MFA? Does your company use group policy? Does your company have a complexity of 12 characters or more? Does your company have the ability that you can't use the same password over and over again? Like things like that for the audit. I mean, obviously it's more in depth, but that's just some of the stuff. So
Seems like a lot you have to take into account. Indeed, that's yeah. Like I worked for a company that tried to get SOC 2 certified, but it was after a while they were like, we give up. It's just too much. It's indeed overwhelming. Like if let's say that I as a red teamer wanted to go over to the blue teaming side, what would you recommend for me? Like, I have a little bit of experience in hacking already. Maybe it's time to look for a different avenue because I know pen testers. Like, there's a lot of pen testers out there. Maybe Blue Team is more for me. Do you have any advice?
Yeah, like, I always say build a home lab, and that's everything from help desk to IT. Because you got to understand that I come from a help desk background, so I got one of my jobs that I got was working for an MSP company, which is a managed service provider, and this is like a long time ago, so several years ago. I mean, even today it's still relevant. So they were asking for Active Directory experience. I'm like, I have no idea what that is. So I'm like going online on Indeed and Dice and LinkedIn, going to all these websites, applying for jobs, and then this MSP company was asking for Active Directory. I didn't use that. I'd never used Active Directory in my life. So I had the idea of setting up a virtual VM with VirtualBox, and I set up server 2012 R2 because this was a long time ago, right? Server 2012 R2, and I literally installed Active Directory from scratch and set it up from scratch, and I got familiarized with Server Manager and everything. So then when I went to the job interview, I actually added that skill on my resume. When I added Active Directory on a resume, I started getting a lot of calls after that because that's a requirement for IT support. So they called me and they asked me, "What do you know about Active Directory?" And I said, I know that I see in your job posting, you're asking for Active Directory experience. So I have experience with password reset, account creation. If account gets locked out, I know how to unlock an account. If I had to add an account to a security group, I know how to do that. So that's the reason why you should hire me. So that they were impressed by my answer. They actually hired me because of that, because of the experience that I had demonstrating my home lab. So that's the same with Blue Team. You could set up a home lab if you have like you set up a VM server, for example, with server 2020, 2012, and then you actually could install Defender on it, ATP Defender endpoint, and you could actually install that on Windows 10. You could actually put malware on it too if you want to have fun with it. You could
It's
put a
your
bunch of
system,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, it's your system. And then just play around with that, and then try to set something up on the cloud using Sentinel as well, and just start ingesting data. And then you could get an experience that way. Like you could do so many things. It really depends what you want to do, but for the most part, you could set something up on the cloud, set up Defender, set up Sentinel, and then obviously learn ticketing systems. There's a bunch of other stuff that's involved. Like you could get ticketing systems for free, like using Jira or ServiceNow. And all
Yeah.
those things you can add it on your resume, and you can start applying for jobs after that. So all of that comes from building a home lab and getting hands-on experience, which is something that I always talk about, if that makes sense. So
I love that answer. Yeah, for sure. Like, I think for the attacking side, we think the same thing. You have to build your own website before you can hack it, and then you learn how insecure it is, etc. It helps a lot to do that kind of stuff for sure. And when it comes to like mentoring and coaching, do you think people should go for like some kind of mentor or coach or trainer or whatever? Or is it better to just dive in themselves and just set it up and hit their head against the wall?
yeah, so like there's a lot of free resources. Like I have my own Discord, and there's other Discords around that are free as well. Like and obviously I have paid services for mentoring and coaching. Like, and this is something that I always tell everyone. I always recommend the free stuff before I recommend doing a call with me. But typically, for someone that is not tech savvy or like needs more like hand holding, if that makes sense, then they would book a call with me and okay, let's get this done together, and I'll show you how to do it, and I'll show you how to set up a lab. Also, the thing is, you got to keep in mind that when you're booking a call with someone, just make sure that person has actual relevant experience to IT and cybersecurity. Because there's a lot of coaches and mentors that are not real, that are like legitimately fake, and they try to steal your money, right? So like you want to make sure you do your homework before you book a call with someone, and or you do mentoring with someone. And like I've been in IT for 10 years, but like if you have go to someone else, it's like charging you like I don't know, like $10,000 for a boot camp, saying you could get into cybersecurity in like 1 month or whatever, like that. Obviously, you want to do your homework, right? So those things are very important. And when it comes to coaching and mentoring, like it's also important to find the right coach, find the right mentor, because not everyone. You may not be like I may not be your cup of tea. Like a lot of people do mentoring with me, they like me, but then um and I don't want to throw anyone under the bus. Like for example, like when you watch, like I love Professor Messer, but like his voice is super dull, right? So like for some people, it's like, oh, this guy's kind of boring. I can't watch his videos. So like it's to be the same thing with me. Like maybe I'm boring. So maybe you find a mentor that actually they're able to teach you better, right? They're able to get you up to speed or whatever. So yeah, I always definitely recommend coaching, but take advantage of the free resources first.
For sure, that's a great answer. Like, I love that there's so many free resources out there. I see the same thing. Just sometimes I get it, it's overwhelming because there's like a million and one resources. Where do you start first, right? A coach can help with that as well. Like, set out the plan for you, but always go in with like define the goal. Like, I want this from the coaching program. It works a lot better than when people tell me I want to learn hacking. I usually don't take those people as coaches, with no offense to them. Like, they have their idea of what hacking is, but it's not what they think it is. It's boring. Like, hacking can be boring, but like so awesome when you actually find something. It's like hunting almost, where you're like, okay, let me stalk my prey really carefully, really closely. And what I found is as well is that I don't know what the blue team side thinks of this, but like from my end, I found that multiple systems working together, so more like infrastructures, you're much more likely to make a mistake there that could cost you than if you set up a single system. Where it's like you say, you have your ADFS, you have your like your system that's attached to it with a ticketing system near. Maybe the company will make a flaw in the ticketing system where they keep that open for anybody. Like, I also think it might be good to get some experience with that in like other fields, like for example programming. I think it's good to learn how to program before you learn how to hack. Do you also think like programming something like blue teaming that could be useful there? Like, do you use programming in your day-to-day life, and what languages?
Yeah, so I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of PowerShell. I love PowerShell. PowerShell is dear to me. I really love PowerShell. So I run scripts every day on Intune. So we use Intune every single day. I run scripts. If I don't do that, I wouldn't be able to automate any of my tasks. So I automate everything with PowerShell on Intune, and that could be anything from like creating a reg edit policy or creating a group policy, anything to do with local machines. I have a policy in place because we don't have Active Directory where I work at, so we do it through Intune. We manage everything through Intune and a bunch of other third party products, and those things are managed through PowerShell. And in my previous job, I use PowerShell. In my job before that, I use PowerShell. So like it's like for me, like specifically for PowerShell, like if I didn't know PowerShell, I would be click, 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 click. I'd be clicking like 50 times. Just doesn't make any sense, right? So it's like, okay, you sure know PowerShell, at least understand how that works. And at the beginning, it's gonna be overwhelming because you'll have no experience with it. But once you use it and do it, it's more like you have to do it to understand it. And once you run a command, that you run like dash get or whatever, or just run something, and then if you actually, there's the option for the help option there too, just like the command line. You know how you type slash help whatever, right? There's something there to help you. And then if not, then don't be afraid to go to google.com and just write, oh, how do I run this command using PowerShell, right? Or maybe you got to go into a GitHub repository and then run something from there using PowerShell. Oh, maybe they have something there, right? So like it's important to know PowerShell because it makes your life so much easier instead of you clicking 1,000 times.
Yeah, and it's something that not a lot of hackers get their time into, because most hackers, they're like almost allergic to Windows, so they go for Linux stuff. But it's good if you know that, because then you can be different and you can learn PowerShell and you can learn Active Directory and all this stuff. It's getting more and more important in the company world, so that's actually where people should aim at, I think, because a lot of people are like bug bounties, bug bounties, bug bounties, but there's like a lot more money to be made in that corporate industry, corporate world, I think. And like, I don't know how you think about this, but do you use any AI in your day-to-day job, or is it more like, no, we just do it ourselves, we Google it?
No, so I use AI, and in my previous job, I also use AI. So we use AI. It's so people that I know, you're gonna get comments probably. Oh, I'm gonna lose our jobs because of AI. Blah blah blah. Right? No, no, no. It doesn't work that way. So maybe some software DevOps, like dev engineer jobs, maybe back end, back end devs, maybe. But like, um, you have to stay with the trend. What I'm trying to say is stay with the trend is you have to know how to use AI. Like a lot of companies are using AI and trying to leverage it right now, right? And they're using it through their platform, not like outside, like through their systems, right? Whether that's through Confluence, Jira, they're using it through their system. So you have to know, if you don't know how to use AI, you're going to be in trouble. Just letting you know right now, because every company using AI, and I'm using it right now. I used it in my previous job, and it's not going to take away your job. It's there to help you. It's a tool to help you so you could do your job a lot better. So I've been using AI for that, if that makes sense. So
For sure, yeah. Like I think I have the same approach as you. A lot of people think that you can write an entire program or application with AI or like an entire script in PowerShell. It's more like little pieces, like you say, little pieces of the puzzle which are faster with AI. It's like we can't remember everything anyway, right? So we have to write shit down, but and Google stuff maybe 20 times because we're lazy to not write it down. But like with this remembering and note taking, how do you tackle that? Do you have like a huge notebook what you fill everything into, or do you like not take any notes?
no, I take notes. I use OneNote, so I take notes for everything. It's just, and I also do a lot of documentation, like documents, like Word documents. I always write a lot of Word documents. We also have our Confluence page, which is our knowledge base article, where we actually write things down in there for everyone. So like, thing is, like, I could do something. I could get a ticket right now and do it, and know how to do it. Like for example, like setting up an Azure service account, and then putting and setting up budget for it with billing and budget on Microsoft Azure portal. And I know how to do that now, but then maybe I forget how to do it in like 3 months. Maybe I get a ticket 3 months later about the same thing, and I'm like, oh shoot, I don't know how to do this. So that's the reason why you create documentation and you put that in your company portal, whatever they use, because every company uses like some sort of knowledge base article. You put it in there, and then you can just refer back to that. And then, oh, now I remember how to do it now because I did this 3 months ago. Okay, let's do this right now. So that's why it's important to like write things down. And I know documentation is super duper boring, but it's necessary for a job, especially even your hiring manager will love you if you do documentation. So
For sure. Yeah, even if it's never read, they love it.
yep.
That's something that I'm struggling with. Like, what do I document versus what do I not document? Like, you can document everything, but that's a bit too extreme, of course. But you need to document certain things. And even if it's just like, oh, I found this on Google with this link or whatever, keep the link and then you at least have that. But I don't like to rely on external resources. So I try to at least word it on my own words. When it comes to stuff like, of course, we have like documentation, and you already mentioned ticketing systems. Or like, how do you think that people should get into that? You've mentioned Jira, for example. Like, can you explain a little bit about what you meant by that?
Yeah, so the ticketing system is very important, and I'm probably gonna get a lot of people responding to what I'm gonna say right now because it's very this. And I made a video on this. It's like you get a ticketing system for Jira, ServiceNow, and the thing is, you have to understand that when you go and you practice a ticketing system, you should understand about ITIL and service level agreements. So what I mean by that is that you'll have like different, what's an incident, what's a response, what's a request, right? What's a request? I mean, incident and request, right? How do you handle hardware? How do you handle software? What are like the change management, right? The approval process. How does that work? So those things are very important. But also, what's part of the point of the ticketing system is knowing how to assign tickets. Like a lot of people assign tickets to the wrong group or department by accident. So like for example, like, oh, I have a ticket on this application that I need to install right now, and it goes to help desk, right? Help desk, can I just install it, right? There's some sort of approval process. They may have to give it to cybersecurity. Then they have to monitor that software to see if it has no vulnerabilities, right? Once they monitor the software, they will approve it, and then they'll push it out on that person's computer, either that or have the help desk guy actually manually install it, right? Depending on your environment. Maybe you use SSEM and you open up the SSEM portal store and you just install it from there, right? Every company is different, but that's an important thing about ticketing systems. Understanding the approval process, understanding ITIL, understanding change management, incident response, because obviously the importance of ticketing systems is also important that when you make a change, like, we have like a change request, right? You make a change, and God forbid you make a change today at the right, literally right now, without any consent of approval through a ticketing system, and you just took down 200 PCs, and the executive is trading right now, and you just took down his PC, and he just lost $200,000 because you just ran a push without any approval or anything, because you didn't put a ticket for that, right? You're gonna get in trouble for that. You'll probably get fired for that, to be honest with you. So it's like, you want to make sure that you follow the approval process, or you follow the company's policies and procedures to what they do with their tickets. If that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. By the way, if you guys, you should really listen to this guy. Like, I love the way he explains things. This is really important in a company. Plus, like, I've seen that multiple people have gotten a job because of you. So that's awesome. Congratulations on that, dude. That's really well done.
Thanks.
I loved seeing those success stories on your website. I'll link them below as well, by the way, if you guys are interested. Like, could you please tell me a little bit more about that coaching program of yours? Like you said, you had a coaching and mentoring program, right? Like, I think a lot of people are interested in that because it's not like getting a job in cybersecurity and IT is easy these days. There's like a million and one applicants, and like, how do you do that? Like, what do you teach them in your coaching?
Yeah, so I do train. So right now, currently I have 10 people under me that I'm training right now. I had about 16. The other six got jobs already. So like if you get a job, you don't gotta you're not. So like I charge a coaching subscription base every month. And basically you do training with me. So you do, and it varies from person to person. So like it's not one size fits all, right? I'm not gonna see that. I'm not gonna give you like, you know how you go and work out and you go and do a diet program and they tell you to eat chicken, broccoli, and rice, right? I don't do that, right? I give you an actual plan that makes sense. So depending on where you're at in your career, I'll either have you get your CompTIA A+ if you're trying to get into IT support or help desk. I will also recommend like you learn the actual on-demand skills. So like what that means is depending on the person, like I may teach you Active Directory one day, I may teach you Office 365 one day, I may teach you MFA one day, I may teach you MDM one day. So I'll teach you stuff you actually will see if you go to an actual job and an actual job interview. So that's what I do, and I also do mock interviews. So sometimes a lot of the people that I work with or students I work with, they're not good at interview. They're not good at interviewing. They're not good at answering questions. So what I'll do is I'll do a mock interview with you before you go to the actual job interview because we fix your resume too. But before you go into the job interview, I want you to be less nervous, right? I don't want you to be super nervous. Oh shit, I'm gonna fail this interview, right? I don't want you to be like that. So like I literally do mock interviews with you and prepare you. That way you have that confidence in answering the questions because when you go to a job interview, you gotta sound like you have confidence. You gotta sound like what you know, like you know your stuff, right? You know what you're doing, and also you also have to be a likable person. If the manager does not like you, they're not gonna hire you. Just being realistic, right? And also you gotta be like approachable. Like technical skills is important, just like soft skills is important. So like if you're technical is great, but your soft skills is very important too. Because if you're super technical and you don't know how to talk to an executive or director in a non-tech way, they're gonna look at you like you have three heads, right? So you got to be super non-technical as well. So it's important to be a combination of both. So we do training on those things, right? So it's very involved. It's not just like I do a call with you, we stay on a video call like this and we talk for 5 hours. No, I don't do that. We do actual training and we do other things. If that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. I really like that you do a mock interview. That's really awesome and useful as well. Like you say, you need to be confident. That is one of the most important factors that I found is confidence. But you can't be confident if you don't know the skills, right?
Yeah,
So yeah,
exactly. Yeah, the confidence thing is plays an important like this. I'll give you a real life example. I interviewed this guy. Oh, actually, this guy did a coaching call with me. I had a guy recently did a coaching call with me, and he had an awesome resume. He had the trifecta A+ network plus security plus. I'm like, bro, what are you doing wrong here? What's going on? What's going? Why can't you get a job? And then we did a one-on-one interview, and he had a great resume. And then little did I know, I found out it's the way he talks, right? Like zero confidence, doesn't believe in himself. Like, and I told him that no one's gonna hire you like that. You speak like that. No one's. The thing is that when you go into a job interview, you got to sound like you're confident. And then confident, not cocky. Those are two different things, right? Confident at the ability of you doing your job. So that's very important. Having confidence is important because you got to remember that you're sitting there with a manager, a CISO, a director. You're sitting there with someone that's in management, right? And if you sound and you talk like you could do your job, then they'll hire you. Okay, I can hire this guy. Looks like he's capable of doing his work, right? But if you don't sound like that, they're gonna be like, okay, let's just move on to the next candidate. Simple as that. So those things are very important.
for sure. Yeah, you talked a lot about real life skills, and I think that matters a lot as well. Like you say, the soft skills, like being confident but not cocky. That's a very difficult thing, especially with these companies. But sometimes you need to be a little bit cocky because that helps. Yeah, no, but I totally get what you're saying there. And when it comes to like of course, in cybersecurity, we already have a lot of people interested in it, but like a lot of people will never reach their goals. I think it also has to do a lot with what you say, where they are like, they don't feel confident in themselves either that they can do something like that. So it helps, I think, to have an experienced person there next to you telling you, okay, this is the direction that is best, and now learn this, and now learn that, and now let's go do an interview. I think that's really awesome. But what I really like today is that you've touched upon a lot of skills that are very important in the industry, and nobody else talks about them. It's like hacking, 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 blue teaming, but nobody talks about the ticketing systems and the release processes you have to go through every day and stuff like that. It's important. So I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me about that stuff. I have like a really important question for you.
Hmm.
What's your favorite hack?
Me? My favorite hack, huh? I like so I like the golden ticket attack, silver ticket attack. So when I worked at 701, we would manipulate the KRBGT account, the service account for Kubros. So that was like my favorite one. Literally, I was like, I would spend my whole day on running Metasploit and also running a couple Kali Linux tools, which is kind of cool. But we would do all our attacks on Active Directory, so it was fun, but it's kind of annoying at the same time because it's like, Microsoft, why do you have this open? What are you doing? It's like, so but that was fun. It was fun. I enjoy that. So it's because in 701, I did a lot of red team stuff, and this is coming from a guy that I worked at help desk. Not like I didn't have that. I didn't come out. I didn't start in cybersecurity. I worked at help desk, and then I did a few try hack me rooms, hack the box, and I started learning more about red team stuff. So then when I got the job at 701, I was like, oh, okay, this isn't that bad. They started making me use tools, and like Metasploit. I was using Bloodhound, a lot of different tools, and yeah, I love this. I love manipulating and attacking the service account. This is fun.
Okay, gotcha.
And
So
mini cats, obviously, mini cats can go wrong with mini cats.
can you remind me to disable my service account? I would really appreciate that. Thank you. That's awesome. That's awesome. Are there any like aspects of your job that you like less? Something that you don't like, per se, about the job, or is it all fun, rainbows and ponies?
No, no, no. So like, if you got the harsh reality of cybersecurity is that you're going to spend a lot of time in meetings with vendors. That's the harsh reality of cybersecurity. It's going to be a lot of meetings that you're doing, and you're going to have Zoom fatigue. So that's a real thing. Don't worry, that's normal. So at the beginning of your career in
Okay.
cybersecurity, you're gonna have to deal with a lot of meetings and some of the meetings are like really important, some of them are not important. But like for the most part, you're gonna deal with a lot of meetings, and that's totally normal in cybersecurity.
What are you talking about? I only had 6 meetings today, and I only have 8 tomorrow, so that's okay. Oh Christ. I had to like the one of our vendors, of course, I'm not gonna name any names, but we had to first describe the issue. Then they didn't get it. Then we had to put in a video. They still didn't get it. We had to show them in a live call. They still didn't properly get it. They sent everything on to their licensing team, and only then was it resolved. Like, and you can imagine, you can ask me what the issue was. It was really simple. We forgot our password, and we had to reset it. That was it. All we had to do was reset our password. But yeah, it can take a while, like you say, and not because they're bad or whatever, but of course they also have their support that you need to go through. And like especially with the vendors, like you say, so you probably have like a lot of contact with vendors. These vendors, I'm assuming like it's because they are selling their product to you or maybe want to sell their product to you. How do you see through that sales talk? Like we always, of course, we get a lot of vendors on our plate, but they're like, okay, this is our magical product. It's beautiful. Like, how can you get past that?
Yeah, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'll be honest with you, I don't answer emails or phone calls. And I have a separate phone for that because I don't want people calling me all the time. I also don't just say I don't say that I don't. I actually don't make my email like public. So like my work email, I don't make it public. So I don't get a lot of emails because otherwise it's gonna drive me crazy.
That's not a bad idea. And when it comes to like the active hacking itself, do you still have time for that for the red teaming, or is it like I don't have a whole lot of time, let me spend it on my work?
Yeah, I don't like. I'm gonna start doing more red team stuff because we're doing. They don't. Our company doesn't have red team stuff. Kind of. They don't really have that, so I have to learn that myself because I'm gonna be part of that. And
That's awesome.
as far as training or learning is concerned, I'm taking a blue team course right now for a company called Cyber Education. They just the CEO gave me a license, so I'm doing that right now, and I've been spending like the last 2 days taking their hands-on training with Splunk, which is pretty interesting stuff.
Nice.
So it's good. It's a good learning experience for me.
That's awesome. I
Mhm.
think I am all out of questions. Is there anything else I forgot to mention? Or oh yeah, no, sorry. One more thing. The veteran resources that you have. I'm gonna put a link to that in the description below as well because I really appreciate the fact that you're doing stuff for veterans. Like they already don't have it easy, and the fact that we can help them is fucking amazing. Um, so we've gone over the academy. No, I haven't gone over the academy just yet, right? There's also your kevtech academy. What is that?
So just like I'm friends and I'm buddies and I'm cool with TCM Security. They're like the red team training platform.
Yeah, Heath is awesome
I love Heath. He's cool guys. He's a really cool guy.
for sure.
So he has some stuff there that's red team. He doesn't really have stuff that's like help desk system admin. He just started a help desk course. I just saw that, but mine is more tailored to help desk system admin and cloud. So I have a couple courses in there that you could take. Some are pay what you can, and some are as low as like $10, and the max is like $20. So I try to make my
Nice.
courses affordable. I don't make it really expensive because I know that some people cannot afford it. So basically, you're basically buying it's like buying a course for me is like buying a lunch, basically. So it shouldn't be that expensive. And then inside my actual platform, I have coaching is there, but like it's like one-on-one coaching, which is what I mentioned earlier. That we meet up every week and we do training, we do coaching, we do mock interviews. You also if you subscribe to my coaching program, right now I'm not taking anyone because I'm maxed out right now. But if you subscribe to my coaching program, you get discounted vouchers for CompTIA because I'm partnered with CompTIA. So all my vouchers
Nice.
are discounted. So you get discounted vouchers with me. So that's pretty
Awesome.
much what kevtech Academy is. So I am working on another package
Hmm.
where we will give you A+ vouchers along with A+ training, along with me training you, along with resume writing, and you could talk to recruiters and stuff like that. So that's not going to be
Great.
live till next year, but I'm working on that right now behind the scenes. So
So that's something to look forward to. That's awesome.
mhm.
Thank you.
Yep.
And by the way, if you guys didn't know, this is like a little bit of a sidetrack, but TCM Security just launched a free tier for their well, for their cybersecurity track. So if you're interested in that, I'll put a link in the description below as well. That's awesome that you're such close buddies with CompTIA. Like I will definitely put a link to in the description. The thing is, guys, if you want to work in this field, certification is a must. It's a must. Period. Like, of course, there are like a million and one hackers out there. If you have like top bug bounty hunter profile where you are like number one or number 10 or whatever in like a big site like hack the sorry, what the fuck am I saying? Hack the bug. I meant, of course, hacker one. Like if you're like at the top there, then you don't need per se that certificate, but it helps, like especially for headhunters. I don't know if you have the same experience, but since I've put my certifications on my LinkedIn, I get almost daily messages which are like, "Do you want to work for this company?" No, guys, I have my own company. Thanks, I appreciate it.
Yeah, that certification is more like HR ATS friendly approval. So like if you have an A+, Never Plus, or your D+, just any certification that they're asking for, it's important to have on your resume.
For
And
sure.
the certifications are helpful too. Obviously some of them are not like hands-on per se, but it's still relevant to have on that resume. So
Yeah, and especially also just to speak the same language. Like if I have my own language of describing things, no, get certified, make sure that you know what you're talking about. So those are about my questions. Kevtech, I would really like to thank you. I would like to ask you also, is there anything I haven't mentioned about you that you'd like to say?
no, 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 it's just like what I tell everyone. Like, keep in mind, guys. I've been in IT for 10 years. I work in cybersecurity now. But I don't come from your like traditional like background where some people they do like WGU and get certifications like crazy. Like I don't have that background. So I started in restaurant. So I did 12 years in restaurant. I also worked 4 years in NYPD, and then I transferred over to IT after that. So like I don't have that education like per se like the other people around me, but like it's like a motivator, right? Like if I could do it, you could do it, right? It's just those things are important. Like keep in mind that there is more than one way to get into IT. There are several avenues to get into IT. Like you get a certification, which is very important. Also, networking is very important. And I'm talking about TCP/IP. I'm talking about being active on LinkedIn by going to conference events like B-Sides, DEF CON, Black Hat. Those things are very important too because you never know who's hiring, and just bring a copy of your resume. So that's also it plays a very big factor when it comes to trying to get into IT. There's like so many things are involved, but certifications, networking is important, and just building the home labs as well. So that's my 2 cents. So
Yeah, for sure. Thanks a lot for that. I really appreciate it, Kevin. You're awesome. And a lot of people say, if I can do it, anybody can do it, but you're darn smart. Admit it. Awesome. Thanks so much for the interview. I really appreciate it. And like I will put a lot of links in the description below as well, guys. Go check it out if you're willing to get an interview in like blue teaming, or if you want to get like some job training. This is an awesome resource for you. Like Kevin said already as well. He has a free Discord, which is a lot of members. I see 1,200 members online. Amazing. Really awesome. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. And I'll see everybody in the next one. Bye, amazing hackers. See you later.
bye.